welcome back to Cookfulness. I'm Ian, and I'm really glad you've come back to join me. If you've come back for another one, thank you very much. If it's your first time, where have you been? Go and watch the other two first. So, what are we going to be doing today? Well, today we're going to be making flapjacks. Love flapjacks. And also kebabs. Now, flapjacks and kebabs, bit of a strange mixture. They're not to be eaten together. They're just things that you can make nice and simply and just build up the flavours as you like them. So, as if you've watched the first two sessions, you'll know already that I like to start with something base, getting the base bit right, and then you start adding to it as you're going. So, flapjacks are perfect for this because once you've got the base right to your taste, you can start doing all kinds of things with them. So, before we start, if you watch the first two sessions, you'll know that when you get anxiety with pain, etc., you can start getting very nervous, very tense, and your immediate reaction is, I'm out of here, I'm not doing this. So what we're going to do is what I do every single time, whether I'm feeling anxious, nervous or not, but particularly if I am, is just to start to do some breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just to help calm you down, and then I just go into a little, visualize that picture again. If you saw the first two, you'll know that I like to, in my mind, see around the kitchen table my family all sat round, laughing, joking, eating my food, enjoying my food, and the most important thing of all is I am sat there with them. There's not an empty chair. I'm in that chair. I'm part of that family. I am part of that family. And how do I get there? How am I doing it? By making this amazing food. It's giving me a role, it's giving me some pride, it's giving me some passion. If you've got that in your head, keep it in there, keep it going, and whenever, even when you're not cooking, if you start to feel yourself doubting yourself, feeling, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, my body is saying no, just remember that picture and say, right, I want to be there, that's going to be me. And it'll just make you think again, and make your body think, oh, yeah, maybe you're right, I do need to try this. So again, if you've watched this before, you'll know the second thing that I always do before I start cooking is my Cookfulness playlist. Put some music on. Now, I've got it already going in the background, but you can't hear it because that would take away from me. But I've got, actually today, I've rediscovered the Eagles, would you believe? So I've got the Eagles from 3 years ago, they did a live concert. It's amazing. So I've been listening to that all the time. It's an album, but it's brilliant because it's just all their best songs played live. Brilliant. When you can't get to live music, next best thing, listen to it. Right, let's go. So, flapjacks. I'm going to be making gluten-free flapjacks, but they are exactly the same for normal. So don't worry, it's just the fact that I've got gluten-free porridge oats. You use normal oats, you use whatever oats suits you best. So first things first, let's go through what it is you're going to need to make these. Firstly, pretty big bowl, because I'm going to make, believe it or not, 3 different types of flapjacks in one bowl. I know, crazy. 3 in one. So pretty big bowl. A measuring jug, tell you what's in it in a minute. Some weighing scales. Now, this is my little egg timer. See him? So last time when I did one I used my phone, but this is the one I really use. A little bit embarrassed about it, but my wife said, you've got to show them, so here it is, okay? It's my little egg timer. The embarrassing thing is that when he goes off, he really goes off. So, a timer. You're going to need a zester of some sort or a grater, it doesn't matter. And if you haven't got either, I'll give you a tip on that as well. A teaspoon. And pretty much that's it. Apart from your own spoon to do a bit of stirry with. So, what's in it? Clearly flapjacks, you need oats. So these, in here I have 375 grams of gluten-free porridge oats. Now I'm making quite a lot. Now the reason I'm making quite a lot is obviously one, I'm making 3 different types. But secondly is they're so good, they're going to go like, I was going to say hotcakes, but they're going to go like flapjacks. So these are going to be amazing. So 375 oats. Now in here I've got 114 ml of maple syrup. Now in a lot of flapjack recipes they use golden syrup and sugar. Just a bit sweet for me and a little bit too much sugar, which I know it's hard to believe with my trim physique. But maple syrup actually was discovered to me by my daughter, and she made these and they're just amazing. So maple syrup, and then 80 of softened butter. Don't use butter straight out of the fridge, you'll be there for hours. So get it out, get it nice and room temperature. Now a lot of flapjack recipes will start by melting something on the hob because you need to dissolve the sugar, etc. But I haven't got any extra sugar. So this one is made here, right now. So I'm going to start with the basic and then I'll add bits in as we go. Last thing you're going to need before I start obviously is a baking tray. And I've just lined it with some baking paper. Now if you can see, baking paper is a pain because it goes off all over the place. So just under each corner, just a little bit of butter, sticks it down, it won't come off. Genius. I'm full of tips. Sorry. So let's go. Now, maple syrup in to your oats, and then butter into your oats. Now this you're going to think, oh gosh, that looks very dry, and it will do for a little bit. You've just got to keep going at it, and if you think, see, the thing with oats are they're all very different, and they sometimes can soak up a lot, sometimes they don't soak up much at all. If they're looking a bit too dry, which these ones to be fair are, just add a little bit more of the maple syrup until you get a nice sort of sticky consistency. Remember, this is just maple syrup and butter and your oats. So, if you can see that, it's crumbly, but if you give it a squeeze, it holds together. So that's pretty much showing you that you've got it at the level you want. Now that's basic, on their own, absolutely delicious. So what I'm going to do, take a chunk out, about a third, because I did say I was making 3 lots, squish them into a ball and onto your tray, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So take a third out. I tell you, the smell of maple syrup is just fabulous. So, a little wash of hands because I'm covered. Next is going to take this now to something a little bit extra. So in here I have some mixed cranberries and raisins, and just scatter them in. Again, just as many as you want. You can use different dried fruits. You can use whatever you like. And then I've got here some mixed spice. Mixed spice basically is, if you smell it, it's like a hot cross bun. It's delicious. Now, if you want to be super, do about half a teaspoon. Just going to go with it. Get it in there. It's coming out very slowly, which is why it looks like I'm putting a lot in. I'm not. That's about half a teaspoon. Now what happens is it starts to take on a whole new smell. It's like, it's getting sort of Christmassy, which is a bit strange in March, but why not? Mixy, 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 and then flapjack number 2. We've got mixed fruit with a bit of mixed spice. Fantastic. So next lot, take that out, give that a good squish onto your tray, and I'll show you that again in a minute. Bit of handy washy. And then the last thing I'm going to add is some orange zest and some lemon zest. Now, zesters are brilliant, and also they have little hooks on so you can hold them across and you don't have to grab on to everything. So often you'll see people doing them like this, and when your hands are sore, when you're really struggling, use what's here. It's got a little hook on it. Hang it over the edge, just anchor it, and off you go. Now, I'm going to show you another way I use, because sometimes I find it very difficult and also a little bit worried about taking my knuckles off by doing this. Now with my dog's on the move, with zesting, you see, you're only taking it down, you're not going right down to the white. That's where the bittery bits are. You just want the skin. So that's going to come down. And then you're wondering where it's all gone. It's all on the back. So in that goes. Now then, same with the lemon. I said I'd show you a little trick. Sometimes I find it very hard to hold and grip something like that. So these are corn on the cob skewers. I know. If you stick them in, 1, 2, 3, like that. But one, it looks a bit weird, but it actually gives you something to anchor and hold on to, and then you're a little bit further away from grating your knuckles. It works. Try it, honestly, it does really help, and it just gets your hand away from everything, and you can still grip it, and you can hold it a lot easier, and you're not worried about accidentally slipping and taking off half your knuckles and having flapjacks with fingers in them. And when you need to turn it around, just take out the things, turn it over and have another go. It works. No, I'm not surprising myself. I do know it works. I do it all the time. So, in that goes. Then, give that another mix round. If you wanted to, you could add in some more cinnamon. Now there is cinnamon in mixed spice, so be careful, because a lot of cinnamon can go a bit like, whoa. If you wanted to go a bit rogue and a bit mad, tell you what's lovely is a little bit of chilli. Now you're going to think I've completely lost the plot, but I don't mean a lot of chilli, and not chilli paste. So if you get an actual chilli and just chop it up as sort of small as you can, don't do the seeds or anything, just a little bits in there, or even grate a bit of chilli like on a zester. It's brilliant because it just gives a little bit of background heat that you're not expecting. It's not going to blow your head off. But that's one if you're feeling like you really want to have a go at it. Now, here we go. So that's flapjack number 3. And I'm just going to put these onto this tray and you'll be able to see. I'll show you in a second what it all looks like. Now, you'll be able to see from this that I'm not the most artistic in terms of what my flapjacks look like. But you know what? When you're shoveling them into your mouth, you really don't care. So, I have made for you, and I'll show you them once they're cooked. Let me just give my hands a little wash again. We have 3 different sets of flapjacks, one there, one there, one there, all on one tray, all made in one bowl with one spoon that I broke halfway through, and I'm sure you noticed, but I carried on very cleverly, and a few extra ingredients. Now for these, what I'm going to do now is they need to be baked, so I've pressed them down to about the height of the tin. You're looking at about a centimetre and a bit, not too thin because they'll burn, but just enough to press them down, and then they'll go into an oven at 170, 160 on a fan for 15 to 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them depending on how thick you've made them, and I'll put them in and then I'll show you in a second through Telemagic what they're going to look like. But these are going to fill your house with the best smells, and I guarantee you they are not going to last very long. Now we're going to be looking at doing some kebabs. Now kebabs can fill you with dread if you're going to do a barbecue, etc., because you're worried about having uncooked chicken with burnt vegetables or whatever, and people will say, oh, you need to cook them to the right size or whatever, it'll all work. It is, but it's one heck of a faff, and you're always worried you're going to poison somebody, which we're not going to do. So I find the easiest way is, rather than having chicken and vegetables on the same kebab, just separate them. So I've got a chicken kebab and a vegetable kebab. So I'm going to actually do 2 chicken kebabs, 2 different flavours, and 1 flavour of veg. But you can mix and match. These work equally well on either side. It doesn't matter which way around you use them. And these 3 marinades I'm going to show you pick up on what we did on one of the other sessions where I was showing you about in-bag marinades, how you can put meat into these little bags, get a bit of flavour into them, and all of a sudden you've got a completely different flavour sensation going on. Now they work brilliantly with kebabs. So what have we got in them? Well, surprisingly, chicken kebabs have got chicken in them. And the chicken I'm using is chicken fillet. Now the chicken fillets are the little bit that comes underneath the breast. They're brilliant because they're the right perfect size for a kebab, because they're long, thin, and they don't need any cutting. You literally use them as they are. Now if you can't get the fillets, then obviously just use chicken breast and cut them into sort of reasonably long strips. You'll see when they go onto the kebabs how that helps to use the fillet, and it stops you having to mess about with cutting and all kinds of things. It makes it so much easier. Then for the veggie ones, I've got some fresh mixed pepper there. So I've got some red and some yellow pepper. Now you can't unfortunately use the frozen for this one. It's just, if you put frozen, it'll just go floppy, and also they're not big enough. Same with onion. I've just got some white onion. You can use red onion, just cut into sort of inch cubes, squares. Some cherry tomatoes and cauliflower florets. You're going to think he's lost the plot again, but trust me, roasted cauliflower, because I'm going to do these in the oven. I'm not going to barbecue. You can barbecue them. It's absolutely perfect. It's just not a particularly great day for barbecue. But cauliflower, whether you roast it or griddle it, is fantastic. You probably boil it, sometimes steam it, but roasting cauliflower is the best thing because it just takes on flavour so well and it doesn't shrivel up and burn. It's brilliant. So I'm going to do 3 marinades to go with these. The first one I'm going to do is ginger and lemongrass. And you see both of these are in little squirty tubes. If you want to go all fancy, get fresh ginger and some fresh lemongrass. That's perfectly great to do, and it probably add a little bit more flavour. But I just find these are so much handy and so much easier for you, particularly if you're having a bad one. It just means you can just put them straight in the bag and you're off. The next one I'm going to do is a garlic and herbs. So I've got some garlic, some mixed Italian herbs, and a little bit of chilli because I do like my chilli. And then the last one is tandoori and yogurt. Now, what are you going to need to make these happen? Well, obviously you're going to need some kebab skewer sticks. So I'm using the little wooden ones. If you're using the little wooden ones and you're going to put them in the oven or onto the barbecue, you've got to soak them in water. So I've got some here that are soaking in water. Give them about a good 20 minutes soaking in the water, and that means they're not going to go on fire, and they'll be fine, they'll be perfect. If you're using the metal ones, obviously you don't need to soak them. Just be very careful when you pick them up because they get very hot. So some kebab skewers, a tablespoon, some olive oil, and most importantly, the in-bag bag for your marinades. So again, these ones I'm using are 100% compostable. They're brilliant. They're not going to be plastic. They're not going to go and get stuck in the environment. You can use them in the freezer, in the fridge. You can write on them, wash them, and once you're finished with them, compost them. So please, if you're going to do these in-bag marinades, look after the environment as well. And these things, they don't cost that much, but they're brilliant and they're great for everything you want to do. So let's start with the chicken. So I'm going to do 2 lots of chicken, so I'll do 2 bags. So starting with some chicken fillets, and I'm just going to put 2 in here. Obviously you'd have, just wash my hand there, you would have as many as you need. So in that bag now, I'm going to do some ginger. Now because it's the paste, I'm going to go with, and there's 2 in there, I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon and a half, because I like ginger. Lemongrass, do exactly the same. Again, lemongrass paste, you can get it at any supermarkets now, and it's just smells amazing. And then lastly, some oil. I'm using olive oil here, but any sort of veg oil would be perfect. So 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Okay. In it goes. Zip up the bag. Just get the air out. Make sure it's nicely put, and then get all the ingredients to the bottom and give them a good mishy-mashy with your hands. Don't obviously mash them up so the chicken turns into mince, but you can see it's all starting to combine at the bottom of the bag. Now that, as it stands now, is brilliant, but the best thing you can do is stick these in the fridge. 20 minutes minimum. If you can put them in for a couple of hours, even better, because the longer you leave it, the more flavour is going to go into them. But right now you could use them, and I'll show you how you can use them in a second. So that's 1, done. Lemongrass and ginger. That wasn't too difficult, was it? So let's do another chicken one. In go my fillets. Just wash my hands. So this time I'm going to do garlic and herb. This is a slightly more Mediterranean version than the one we've obviously done a little bit from the Orient. So 1.5 garlics. Now in terms of mixed herb, they're just amazing Italian herbs. Now I'm just doing this by eye, so just put in a tablespoon would be perfect. If you like it more herby, more herbs. Chili paste is fantastic stuff, but do make sure you know how strong it is before you start putting it in. I'm just going to put a little bit in. I just like a little bit of background heat, so it's a couple of drops, that's all it was. If you want it a bit hotter, put more in, it's entirely up to you. And then off we go with the oil again. So 1, 2 tablespoons of oil. In it goes, and this, honestly the smells, and it's not even cooked yet, are incredible. Now you don't even have to do these as kebabs if you want. You could put anything, you could put like chicken in these and just put them through the oven. Have them with, you know, in anything. Salad, be delicious. Again, give them a good squish about. Make sure it's all combined well. Number 2, done. Next, veggies. So, as I say, I've got some cherry tomatoes, some mixed peppers, bit of my favourite cauliflower, and trust me, it will work. I am not completely barking. And a bit of onion. So that's all gone in the bag. Now this time, I've got some yogurt and some tandoori powder. So, tandoori powder wise, again, 1.5 teaspoons should be enough. If you want it a bit more, I'm going to put 2 in just because there's quite a few bits of veg in there. If you like me and your stuff gets stuck on the bottom, just give it a whack. There we go. And then onto the tandoori powder, because obviously it's dry. I'm just going to put a little bit of natural yogurt. So this is actually Greek yogurt. So 1 tablespoon, and then on top of that 1 tablespoon of oil. Okay, so slightly different just because there's quite a bit more to coat with the veggies. In it goes, get the air out, hopefully if you leave a hole. And again, it smells are just amazing. So again, be careful with the veggies because they're not as easy to play with. But just give them a good rummage round. It's great for your hands actually, if your hands are sore. Because I know when I flare, my hands go first. My hands get really badly and I swell up and I really struggle. I've got arthritis as well and it hurts like heck. So actually massaging the food it's very nice as long as you don't leave it like that with the finger open. So, that's 3 done. Now, it's time for skewering. Skewering can be slightly precarious if you're not careful. So I've got a tray here, I've just covered it in foil, it just helps for it not to stick too much. Now if you're going to put these in the oven, just a little bit of oil on the bottom will help them not stick. Not a lot because you don't want it to fry. So let's start with the chicken. So what have we got first? Let's go for the smell. So take one of your sticks to shake off the excess water. Grab one of your beautifully marinated, and you literally just push it straight through like that. It's like I don't know, like a tree of some sort, and that's it. Literally, that's why the fillets are so good, because you can stick them straight on. Do another one. Again, start with the thickest end. Just push it through right the way through to the tip. Another one. Okay. Just give my hands a little wash. Sorry. Need to remember, legs don't work very well. Next one. So this one, remember, was our garlic and herb. So out of the bag, and as I say, if you leave these for long, for a good 20 minutes plus, you'll get the best of the flavour. They'll still be great, just like this, because they've still got a lot on them. And if you're putting them in the oven, which I'm going to do, they'll be perfect. One more. Left hand for that one. Okay. So that's another one done. So that's 2 lemongrass and ginger, 3 garlic and mixed herbs done. Just give my hands a bit wash again. So whenever you're handling raw chicken, etc., just do be careful to make sure you wash your hands before you move on to the next bits. So veggies. Now this one obviously a little bit more work to do. So shake off the excess water again. Now with the cherry tomatoes, don't go sideways through because that's how they'll fall off. Find the sort of root end and go straight through it that way, and that's got a much better chance of staying on. So it's a bit of onion. What else should we go for? A bit of pepper. Now if you don't like my combinations of, how dare you, cauliflower and, see look, cauliflower is beautiful. Another tomato. Then try what you like. Really good things like aubergine are great. Sweet potato is okay, but it tends to fall apart a little bit. Let's do one more little piece of pepper. So there you have a veggie one. That's tandoori and yogurt, remember? Let's do another one. And these little beauties are great. So the veggie ones, it doesn't matter that they're all different sizes, because when they go on the barbecue, it's all veggie. And it helps actually if you've got the the cauliflower sticking out a bit because that makes it nice and charred. But in the oven, it's fine because they're all going to get the direct heat. On we go. You don't want to sit and watch me threading kebabs all day long. So there we go. Now, these kebabs are going to go into a reasonably hot oven. I go in at 200 because you just get a nice outside crust if you go in with hot. They don't take long, so 15 minutes maximum and they're done at 20. Now you might find if the veggies are a bit chunky, it takes a little bit longer, so you might want to put them in first. But honestly, these things, they are so delicious. They come out and you can have them on the sticks, or you can put them into flatbreads. You can have them however you want. I'll show you them in a second once they're all cooked through Telemagic, and then you'll see what it all looks like. So here we are, 3 different types of flavoured kebabs, 2 chicken, 1 vegetable. Doesn't have to be for barbecue, it can be for a beautiful day like today. Great flavours, great smells. Hopefully you've seen, not too difficult to try and get done. I will see you in a second with the finished article. Thank you for watching another session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I just want to again show you these amazing kebabs. So we've made 3 different types, 2 lots of chicken and 1 lot of veg. And again, as I said, you can use the marinades on each, it doesn't matter. It tastes fantastic, so just go with what you like. Flapjacks, they're not the same as the ones you get in the shop in beautiful cubes. There goes my little dog. Lots of cubes, but these, I genuinely tell you, are the most fantastic flapjacks. And the best bit is, that when you go to cut all your flapjacks up, there'll be bits that fall off and go all over the place, like these little crummy bits. Now, once you finish nibbling on them, there'll be some still left over. This is brilliant as a crumble topping. So literally just get some fruit, tin fruit, whatever you like, some rhubarb or whatever. Sprinkle this on the top, put it in the oven. Brilliant crumble. So it's very versatile. So I really hope you've enjoyed this session. The next session we'll be doing 2 brand new dishes as well. So hopefully you'll stick with me and watch that one too. Thank you for watching. Please all stay safe, stay well. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We're doing brilliantly, you're doing brilliantly. And you need just keep reminding yourself you're doing amazing. Keep cooking, keep enjoying it, keep your music playing, keep visualizing that happy place around that table. And that's you doing that. You've done it. You've created that food. You've made this amazing food. You should be so, so proud of yourself. Make sure you are proud of yourself, and make sure you tell yourself. You're going to feel like a bit of a twit, but don't worry. Tell yourself you've done really, really well. Because how long is it since you said that to yourself? It's a long time if it's anything like me, if ever. And if you start to believe it, other people will believe it. So have a good day, everybody. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you... when shall it be? Very stupid. Thank you.